Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, I thought I would take a break from all the interviews and have a nice one-on-one chat with you. I've received quite a few emails over the holiday period and many people asking what I got up to at Christmas here in the UK. Now, I am conscious that many people listening to this show all over the world will not be celebrating Christmas. But for those that don't, here's a quick guide to Christmas in the UK. The most common gift for men of any age is the infamous Lynx Africa box set, which contains a can of Lynx deodorant and shower gel. But for some reason, everywhere else in the world call it Axe. I still don't know what that's about. However, this year my box set contained a waterproof Bluetooth speaker, so when not recording podcasts or listening to them when walking my dog, I can now listen to them in the shower. Well, there's a thought for you all. I better move on quickly. Seriously, that's not a good image for anyone. So over the holiday period, I've been listening to many end-of-year podcasts, and I've noticed a bit of a theme where podcasters have been using their platform that they've built to list off their own achievements, which as a listener to podcasts felt a little bit odd because I'm a little bit old-fashioned and I think it's a host's job to serve their audience, not say, look how great I am, what a great year I had. But I must admit, I'm not great about that kind of stuff. I mean, one of the most common emails and things guests say to me is, I love what you're doing here, Neil. I love how you're serving your audience and how you produced a daily podcast that highlights how technology is transforming multiple industries. But, and then they have this very confused look on their face and they say, how do you make money? Or the much more polite and inquisitive line, so tell me, Neil, what is your business model? Now, Martin Orswick, he's the most recent person to ask this question. So I guess we better get this one out the way. So until I find a sponsor for this podcast, it doesn't make me any money at the moment. But that's fine because it's more of a labour of love for me, and hopefully that comes across in every interview. I love how every day I can beam your ears to a different part of the world and share stories of how technology is changing our world. I also love learning lessons and taking away really valuable information from each and every person that I talk with. That for me is the epitome of technology working best when it brings people together. But it does amuse me when I tell people this with my childlike enthusiasm and they look at me blankly and say, but you don't make any money from it. Now, I do make my money, I make my living through guest writing for tech leaders, CEOs, business leaders, and writing blogs for businesses that don't have time to do it. But because much of this work is ghostwritten, I obviously need to do something to keep my profile high to secure more work. And this is why I write for a number of online publications such as The Next Web and Tech HQ. But of course, recording a daily podcast is going to help also. So I guess how I make my living is quite a complex jigsaw of many different pieces. But this is something that I've been passionate about right from the beginning. Because when I first left my corporate life behind, people were saying, again, what if you lose a client and can you make enough money? But this was the exact point for me and why I had to make that jump from corporate land. Because as a man of a certain age, I've seen many people have all their eggs in one basket, which is a safe job, only to be tapped on the shoulder one day, taken into an office and made redundant after 20 years loyal service. And I'll be honest with you, that scared me a little. I wanted to create something different where all my eggs were in different baskets. Because if you have 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 or 100 clients, if you lose a couple, it might hurt, but you've still got many different sources of income. So for me personally, it feels much less of a risk than losing one corporate job where all my eggs were essentially in one basket. So in 2019, I will be working on perfecting that message and finally put in the message of, but how do you make your living, Neil? And what is your business model? Put that to bed once and for all. But in a nutshell, I help individuals and businesses create written content and also help them launch their own podcast and create their own audio content without having to worry about things like mastering the art of editing audio files. But moving swiftly on, Sam Brown recently emailed asking if we were going to be covering CES this year. Now, Sam, your message doesn't say if you're male or female, like the singer Sam Brown, but hey, your gender is not important over here. As anyone working in tech will tell you, I must say, I think we all nervously enter the new year knowing that the chaos and madness of CES in Vegas is waiting for them. With more than 4,500 exhibiting companies, an exhibiting space of more than 2.7 million net square feet, CES in 2018 welcomed the world's biggest companies, in addition to hosting more than 1,000 startups at the Eureka Park Marketplace. And to put these figures into perspective, over 182,000 industry professionals, including more than 63,000 from outside the US, all convened in Las Vegas to drive the ever-evolving global technology industry forward. And the show in January 2019 will be even bigger. So in a very long-winded answer to your question, Sam, I'm beginning to prepare 10 interviews a week to try and cover some of those stories behind the companies that are going to be making that trip, and also try and report live from the show floor too. Because CES is the world's gathering place for all those that thrive on the business of consumer technologies, and it has served as the proving ground for innovators and breakthrough technologies for over 50 years now. And that global stage where next generation innovations are introduced to the marketplace. It's my duty to cover this, isn't it? But I do warn you in advance that many episodes will be on the way after the holidays. And this is just the calm before the storm. And it's official. I have eaten too much, drank too much, and way too afraid to step on the scales to reveal the extent of the damage that I've caused to my bloated body. But as we all know, it's that time of year where we all want to repent and reinvent ourselves. For example, my first job of 2019 is going to be revamping my website. And this got me thinking, what is it about the human condition that is drawn to new beginnings and new opportunities on the horizon? And also, what is it that makes our old self catch up with our desire for change and we quickly revert back to it? I honestly think it's fascinating how we all go through this exact same process every year, no matter where we're located in the world. But I honestly believe that if you surround yourself with like-minded souls to keep you on your path and make you accountable for your decisions, then you can accomplish absolutely anything. For example, I receive emails from all over the world, all asking the same questions. Neil, how did you achieve your success, and how can you help me do the same? And the most recent emails from listeners asking this question over the holiday period were, and I'll give you a big shout out now, Christine Howes, Mark Cox and John Connolly. And when I said at the beginning of this podcast, it's serving my audience that I enjoy, I genuinely meant it. And I think it's so important to help people and always reply to every genuine email. That's not a sales pitch, of course. And to questions like I've just mentioned, my advice is always something like this. One podcast recording per week will result in 52 podcast episodes against your name that will help you position yourself as a thought leader in your industry. So at the end of the year, that's 52 episodes. It can be a mixture of you talking in a solo show about challenges and opportunities that you've faced or your industry's facing, or talking to friends and colleagues and online contacts from all over the world. So just think about that for a moment. Think of the SEO of 52 podcast episodes on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, which is also the world's #2 biggest search engine. Sounds easy, right? But I'm very often then told, but I don't have time to commit to 52 episodes because of my family and work commitments. Well, let's drill down to exactly how long it would take. One episode a week can be achieved by 60 minutes a week. Yes, 1 hour a week. And if we break that down, that is one episode of a TV show. And everyone has time for that, right? All you need is 15 minutes to prep your episode, determine what questions or discussion points you're going to tackle, and then just hit a big red record button and talk for 30 minutes. And then you can edit that file yourself, or you can outsource the editing process. And this is something that I can work with you on with my Podcasting Made Simple program. But honestly, I'm happy for you to find your own way and just ask me questions if you need any encouragement, because I'm here for as little or as much help as you actually need or want. And the reason I say this is because I want you to retire excuses such as I don't have time, because they're holding you back and it's simply not true. If you get one takeaway from my end of year chat today, is that realise that you can produce a weekly podcast by sacrificing 1 hour out of the 168 hours in your life every week. And let's face it, you can do it in your office during a lunch hour. You can do much of that prep work. If you make time for that 1 hour at your convenience, you can join me again in the same time next year with 52 episodes against your name. Now, I made this pledge last year, and since I made this speech, Heather R. Younger is now approaching her 50th episode of Leadership with Heart podcast and positioned herself as an HR and leadership thought leader with her incredible interviews and her fantastic show. And equally, Sarah Elkins has blasted past 52 episodes, I believe now, with her Your Stories Don't Define You, How You Tell Them Will podcast. And I also met Kurt Mercadante at the No Longer Virtual Summit in Denver in February. And he's taken my advice to a whole new level and over 100 episodes. And I think the problem is many people record 5 episodes and think, you know what, this just isn't worth it. I give up. It's not worth me sacrificing my time. But I equate this school of thought as to going to the gym and go once or twice and noticing zero difference. And after 3 to 5 visits, you think, you know what, this going to the gym is just doing me no good. I'm noticing no benefits at all. And also, I've heard other people say that, I've only had 500 people listen to my podcast. And I said to them, imagine a concert venue in your town that has 500 people queuing up outside. And they're lining up to wait to be allowed into this concert hall. And just to hear what you've got to say. 500 people waiting to take their seat that are going to hang on your every word. And this is what I personally think is the problem, because we're living in this age of instant gratification. But anything that is life-changing will take time to grow and master. Just like going to the gym or dieting, where it takes weeks and months to see the benefits, your content requires the same amount of investment. Building relationships with your audience and showing up every week takes time. Those 500 people that are queuing up to hang on your every word, they want to tell their friends about your show. And that's how you build your audience. It's not about trying to get this quick fix, buying followers. It's simply about putting the work in and just showing up each week. And one of the easiest things you can do to achieve success in your life is simply by showing up and making a difference. Week after week, month after month. Just like going to the gym. In a few months' time, you'll start noticing the difference, but you won't see it overnight. And the same goes for written content too. If you're a thought leader or a business and you have written 5 blog posts and given up, imagine what 1 post per week can do for you. Again, that's 52 SEO-enriched articles against your name. And 2 articles a week is over 100. How cool is that? And you don't have to do it yourself. I don't earn my living from this podcast, but like I said earlier on, but by helping businesses, thought leaders and CEOs achieve their written content goals with articles and blogs. And equally, I can get them up and running with their own podcast. The point that I'm making here is not to sign up to everything I do. That's not it at all. But to understand that you can take action and reach all of your 2019 goals by outsourcing those tasks that you keep saying every year that you don't have time for or you don't have the skill set for. Everything that has been holding you back, identify the cause of it and remove it. And today I've talked about podcasts and writing content, but that's what I help people with. But anything else, it can all be treated in the exact same way with the same mindset. There is a global marketplace out there at your fingertips that will help you achieve your goals. So instead of scrolling down Instagram and Facebook, find out what's holding you back and find someone that can help you achieve your goals. So I suppose what I'm saying is maybe we should all just stop piling unnecessary pressure on ourselves and just turn to that global community to help us make our own progress. It took me a long time to get that message across, but I hope you take a few things from it and make sure that 2019 is everything that you want it to be. Finally, the main reason I wanted to record my ramblings today is to thank each and every single one of you for personally tuning into this show every day in 2018. And the fact that a conversation from my microphone in my tiny office, which is just a spare bedroom in my home, is then heard all over the world still blows my mind. But also how we've built a connection and bond across digital airwaves. I do write a lot of content, but it's only podcasts that allows you to hear my voice in your ears while you're exercising, walking your dog, commuting to work, hopping on a plane somewhere, or even just doing your daily chores. And from the stats of this show, the top 10 countries listening are, in order, the US, UK, India, Australia, Germany, China, Canada, France, Spain, and the Netherlands. So I know that many of you listening will not speak English as your first language. But you still tune into stories every single day, not just about how technology and how it's transforming multiple industries, but also the very real human stories that are told from all over the world. And I just want you to know that I appreciate each and every one of you. And while I'm attending events in 2019 and conferences, there will always be an open invitation to grabbing a quick coffee with me if I am in your town or city. Now, before CES does kick in and I go into crazy event mode, I'm redecorating my office, and I might even confront my fear of video content in 2019, because I do have a face that's much more suited to radio, but I think it would be kind of cool for you guys to be able to put a face to the voice. And I did have a message from Sarah Elkins earlier this year, and she said when reading my written content, she can now hear my voice reading to her, which shows you how we can build a relationship through our content. But let's be honest, I have rambled on way too long, which was what was supposed to be just a very short solo show. So I really want to thank you for listening in 2018, and in 2019, I look forward to serving you, my loyal audience, grabbing you a coffee with you at an event, working with you, or helping you with written and audio content, or simply just providing you with this daily tech podcast. Whatever you want is all good with me. But remember, tech really does work best when it brings people together. So for those reasons alone, my door will remain open for all of you. And you can continue to email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, or pop by my website, techblogwriter.co.uk. So, are you ready for 2019? Are you inspired to reach your goals? Let me know your plans, and I will see you all on the other side. But before I go, Sam Latimer has challenged me to run 500 miles in 2019, and we're going to try and push each other every step of the way through the Runkeeper app. So if anyone would like to join us and encourage each other, throw in a little bit of banter throughout the year, let me know, and I'll add you to our joint goal. And maybe we could try and make this happen together too. How cool would that be? Imagine motivating each other to run 500 miles in 2019, and it's something that anyone can do with the Couch Potato to 5K app. It makes anything possible. But enough of my ramblings. Thanks for listening to me thinking out loud. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, and hope we can carry on doing this well into 2019 and beyond. So I genuinely hope to make as many of you as I can next year. So let's make that happen too. So I'll see you all in 2019 and leave you with the infamous words: work hard, stay humble, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.